Okay, moving on to section B. Section B, let's start with question number 9. So question number 9 tells us that both lead carbonate and lead sulfate are insoluble in water. So part A asks us to state the suitable method of preparing such salts since both salts are insoluble. The suitable method is precipitation, sometimes called double decomposition. That is a suitable method. Moving on to question B. So question B asks us to describe and outline how pure dry lead sulfate would be prepared and collected, starting from lead carbonate and selecting from the given reactants, which is lead carbonate solid, dilute sulfuric acid, dilute nitric acid, sodium sulfate, and distilled water. So let's go through this step by step as a full method. So step number 1, lead carbonate does not dissolve in water, so we cannot react it directly with sulfuric acid to get a clean reaction. Since lead sulfate is also insoluble and would cause the lead carbonate stopping the reaction. So instead, we first dissolve the lead carbonate using dilute nitric acid since lead nitrate is soluble. Add excess lead carbonate solid to the dilute nitric acid and stir until no more dissolves, forming a solution of lead nitrate. Step 2, filter the mixture to remove the unreacted excess lead carbonate. Since we added it in the excess to make sure that all the acid was used up, this leaves us with a clear filtrate of lead nitrate solution. Step 3, add this lead nitrate solution to dilute sulfuric acid or to a solution of sodium sulfate. A precipitate of lead sulfate forms immediately because lead sulfate is soluble. Step 4, filter the mixture again to collect the lead sulfate precipitate. Step number 5, wash the precipitate with distilled water to remove any soluble impurities such as leftover sodium nitrate or nitric acid. Step 6, dry the precipitate ideally between sheets of filter paper or in a warm oven to obtain pure dry lead sulfate. That's a full 6 marks method right there. Moving on to question part C. Part C asks us to explain why the lead salts are not prepared by the acid alkali titration method. The reason is that most lead salts, including lead sulfate and lead carbonate, are insoluble in water. The titration method only works for the prepared insoluble salts since it relies completely dissolving both the acid and the bases and then evaporating the solution to crystallize the salt. Since lead salt does not stay dissolved, this method simply does not apply. Okay, moving on to part D. Part D asks us to state the chemical test for the sulfate ions. So the test is to add hydrochloric acid followed by barium chloride solution to the sample. If a white precipitate forms, this confirms that the presence of sulfate ions, since barium sulfate is insoluble and forms this white precipitate. So that's question B9 complete. 10 marks, just like that. Now let's move on to question